There are bad situations, and then there are 1,000 homicidal snake clones pulling up at your sister's location level bad. Himawari isn't just standing in danger right now. She's basically the final boss reward that Mamushi has been speed running towards, or rather a bonus reward since the final boss level reward is Ada. But look at what we have here. Kawaki's overheating, Sarada's down, Team 10 is doing their best impression of background extras, and Boruto is one emotional breakdown away from either becoming a full-blown god level character or ironically being a liability. Meanwhile, Damon, the human reverse Uno card, can't even leave Ada's side without risking everything collapsing. And the worst part, in another timeline, Himawari, she just didn't make it. Yes, this isn't a battle anymore. This is a countdown to what might be an inevitable implosion. And in today's newest Naruto Explained video, your OBC, your original Boruto chief, is taking a look at the ramifications of why narratively, if Himawari is indeed in danger, this does have massive impacts on the characters of Boruto, Kawaki, and Damon, which, let's state this for the people in the back, this is not a theory video, this is a discussion video. Also, this summer, so since summer is almost here, I want to give you advance notice to get that popcorn ready. There are a couple of movie-length videos dropping this summer. One is a mega Naruto lore video that is going to change how you view certain events that happen in the series, and another that, depending on who your favorite character is, you're about to be eating extremely well. You guys know the drill. If you see an influx of Boruto manga discussions like you've been seeing so far this quarter, it just means that videos like the ones that I was just referencing, they're being cooked up. And it's the exact same with some of the videos that are currently on Patreon. Those have a 60-day exclusive window. So this summer, you guys are going to be eating good. So the numbers problem is where you ultimately have to start any discussion here, because we have to look at why 1,000 clones and growing absolutely changes everything. Like, let's just stop sugarcoating. This is not a fight. It's a math problem. And right now, math is currently winning. Mamushi going from 12 clones to 200 clones to 1,000 clones doesn't just scale the threat. It breaks the battlefield entirely. Before, you could manage positioning, and that was Shikamaru's ultimate goal at the very beginning. He said it himself. They planned for 30. He had contingencies for up to 50, but once at 200, he said, okay, this is too much. Right now, with 1,000 clones, it is chaos. It is pure, unfiltered chaos. Even if each clone is dumber than the last, because yeah, their battle IQ drops more the more clones that there are. You don't need intelligence when you have overwhelming volume. And I think that's something that does get overlooked. Like, is it the best strategy? No, it really isn't the best strategy. But at the end of the day, it is a strategy. Again, it's not genius level, but it's a strategy. If Shikamaru is the genius who we think he is, who we know him to be, while he is going to have his work cut out for him, I don't want to downplay that. I do think that there is a strategy that can be used to overcome these numbers, because that intelligence gap, it is a massive thumbscrew if you can figure out how to exploit it. If these clones had all peak battle intelligence, then we would be pressing F in the chat right now, because I don't care how strong Boruto or Damon are. That many clones at full power and having full battle IQ, you're not overcoming that. But with them being 1,000 dumbasses, we're not pressing F in the chat, but we are saying like, hey, maybe we need to take a beat for a second and think this through. But right now, there's still a chance to win. Why is that the case? Well, it's literally the same logic of a zombie apocalypse or any zombie story that you probably watched if you got into that zombie craze back in the 2010s. So individually, they're super dumb. And while they are strong, the lack of intelligence makes it easier to take them down if you keep your wits about you and intentionally exploit the weaknesses that you see. Collectively, a bunch of moron zombies with super strength is going to be a problem despite them being so dumb. Basically, you are more likely than not lunch meat in that scenario, because they don't have to be smart enough to beat you one-on-one in that situation. They just have to overwhelm you, because at that point, it's not about being big-brained or being stronger. It's a war of attrition. At some point, you're going to lose because you're just human. You are going to get tired. And here's the issue for Himawari. She's one of the few fighters who actually can deal with large-scale threats thanks to her AoE potential, which is massive. Like, the potential there, it is insane. In AoE, I'm referring to area of effect. And this does give me some hope personally that Ikimoto has changed his tune a little from 2018, where he said, and I completely agree being blunt, that the fighting in part 1 of Naruto was handled better than part 2 of Naruto, which, referring to the manga, not the anime, because part 1 was, to summarize and paraphrase what Ikimoto said, more AP focus and more focus on the teamwork aspect. While teamwork was there in part 2 of Naruto, it was there. The scope of the fights themselves, they got insanely massive and they grew considerably over time, especially when you look back at how things started. The fact that he's drawing this many clones and has someone like Shikamaru saying that characters like Himawari and Kawaki specifically were part of his plan because they have wide scale attacks, and Ikimoto has been shown drawing damage from Biju Dama at a larger scale like he did with Boruto versus Jura. It does give me hope that he's opening up more. We saw Mitsuki using more shadow clones against Boruto. We see Mamushi with those 1,000 clones. So I do think that there is some acknowledgement that maybe the scope of the battles needs to increase some, because there comes a point where it is needed. Again, I'm personally not a fan of it. It is why I personally prefer Dragon Ball's manga to the anime. But right now, it is something that is needed. And I do think that the fact that Ikimoto has even moved it just a small dial is a good indication and a good awareness of what the story needs. Now, Himawari, though, she is strong, but 1,000 enemies, that's not let's clear the field level territory. That's I hope your chakra doesn't clock out before you do level territory. Even Naruto at her age, which that's 13-year-old Naruto, he would obviously struggle with that pressure. But unlike Naruto, I do think that it is important to note that Himawari does not have years of battlefield trauma to fall back on. She does not have years of shinobi training to fall back on. Naruto at 13 had a lot of problems, don't get me wrong. But part of the reason why Naruto could come up with those unorthodox ideas is even though he was a dumbass, Naruto was still somebody who understood enough of the basics that he could think outside the box. That's what made 13 and 12-year-old Naruto such a problem. Himawari right now, I would venture to say she's more so learning in real time. And with a situation like that, there's zero margin for error. Granted, she has both halves of Kurama and cooperation with Kurama, and that is a lot of chakra, but the lack of experience, that is a red flag here. Even Kurama pointed it out. She is in a situation, a different situation. The chakra control aspects that she uses, she's trying to apply the fundamentals that apply to shinobi when she herself is not a Jinchuriki, but she is closer to a tailed beast based on everything that we're told. Unless she has a major coming of age moment here where everything clicks immediately mid-fight, which I don't rule out, she's got potential, Naruto's little girl is in danger. Taking a closer look at Himawari, she's also low-key a target now, and it's not just because she's there, it's because she matters. Mamushi isn't attacking randomly right now. He's also somebody I would argue that is going after value. And Himawari, she is Naruto's daughter. She's a anomaly in the making. She's already somebody flagged by Damon as having ridiculous latent power. That's not a target, that's a jackpot. Now, he will not seek to consume her. None of the awakened Shinju have shown an interest in eating people that they're not locked onto specifically. But as the Japanese expression goes, the nail that sticks out is the one that gets hammered in. Himawari is one of the strongest on the battlefield and likely is going to rack up a large body count as she runs through those Mamushi clones. So she's going to stick out, which means she's going to get hammered in. And when you combine that with Kashin Koji's vision of the future, where things go horribly wrong after Mamushi consumes Ada and Himawari dies at some point in that, The current time on Himawari becomes part of a chain reaction. If Ada falls, everything potentially collapses. Assuming you believe Kashin Koji, which in my opinion, while he has withheld information, he has not shown himself to be the classic unreliable narrator from literature. Right now, if everything collapses, Himawari's survival chances, they pretty much drop to 0. Which means, looking at the current layout, she's standing in the most dangerous intersection point in the entire battlefield. And the worst part, she doesn't fully understand how much pressure is on her. Whether or not Himawari rises or falls when it comes to meeting this moment is going to have major impacts on several characters moving forward. Multiple life-altering moments narratively that rival finding out that you've been drafted to join Scoutmaster Jigen's Karma Seal Regiment. Boruto's impact in this comes down quite literally to this: mental nerf or god tier amp. Like, that's the major wild card. Boruto. Right now, Boruto is staring at Sarada unconscious on the ground, and Himawari is surrounded by a literal army. This is where things do get dangerous, not just for the enemies, but for everyone. Because Boruto is about to do one of two things. Option 1, mental nerf. He freezes, gets tunnel vision, starts making those emotional decisions instead of calculated ones because of what happened with Sarada's situation. And if that happens, Mamushi's going to win, because the battlefield, any battlefield, is going to punish hesitation. Any battlefield is going to punish anyone that is not operating at peak chakra efficiency. Option 2, though, is the mental amp. And that's the one that if you're Mamushi, you should be terrified of. And it's ironic, Mamushi right now is too stupid to be terrified. That option comes if Boruto snaps. Not in a reckless way, because that's out of character for Boruto, but in a focused, terrifying, clarity kind of way. Basically, a controlled rage. We've already seen hints of this in the story if you think about it. Yin and Yang are not just the aspects that make up the power system known as chakra in the universe. They're also things that are tied to physical and emotional energy, in particular Yin chakra. If Boruto channels that fear and that anger into resolve, you're looking at a massive spike in performance. Because again, shinobi can only pull out their true power and potential if they are fighting to protect something or someone that they love. And that's where it gets interesting. Himawari isn't just someone that he cares for. Himawari is his biological sister. That bond hits differently. If Boruto decides that nobody is going to touch Himawari, if he sees that Himawari is in danger, the battlefield is going to flip immediately, and that is a problem. We could be looking at God mode Boruto on steroids. Kawaki also has the hidden anger that changes everything. Like, Kawaki is where everything is dicey, and as my grandmom used to say, once something is fucked up, it's better to just throw it all away than to try to salvage it. Kawaki is approaching that point if we're being honest. Like, Kawaki right now, he's in the worst possible potential position mentally. He's overheated, which means that based on prior things that we've seen, he's going to be weaker than usual. And he's about to watch Boruto potentially go nuclear, protecting Himawari if Himawari gets overwhelmed. That's a recipe for pure, unfiltered rage, because Kawaki's entire identity is built around protecting Naruto, and Boruto is a threat that Kawaki believes he has to protect Naruto from. And by extension, you could argue, since Himawari is Naruto's youngest child, she's part of the legacy of Naruto that Kawaki would want to keep intact for when Naruto is eventually unsealed. So if Boruto steps up and does what Kawaki can't do in that moment, add in the fact that we've seen signs that Kawaki feels guilty about what he did to Himawari, that's not just going to be frustration, that's going to be humiliation. And Kawaki, based on what we've seen, he does not process either one of those emotions well. This is the same guy who turned the entire world on Boruto. He's the guy who sealed Naruto. He's the guy that has become obsessed with control and power. Now imagine him watching Boruto outperform him, protect Himawari, and do it effortlessly using a level of power that Kawaki didn't even realize Boruto had. That anger is not going to stay contained. Instead, it's going to fuel his next decision. And that decision is probably going to be extreme. And at that point, it starts a small snowball effect. Now, I don't think that Kawaki ever reaches the point where he can't be redeemed. But this is the moment that starts him potentially marching towards that. Think of it like walking up to a door and not actually opening it. That's where I think we're headed with Kawaki's character ultimately. Damon is also impacted when you realize why Himawari's power definitely changes his view. Damon has a lot of skin in the game here. This is the same Damon who laughs at everyone's power level. Even when he sensed what Boruto did with the Uzuhiko, he was like, oh, that's cool, but it wasn't enough to get him super excited. He treats most fighters like jokes. The moment that you say Code is strong, Damon laughs harder than 19 Fingers Sukuna laughed at Gojo and Kashimo. Damon only respects overwhelming power. He already noticed something about Himawari, and it was not potential. He noticed power. Power that I still to this day believe, just based on the Buddhism principles and the science that Naruto uses, is the power of barrier mode. Hence, the small appearance of Kurama, which I've already gone in detail in another video about why Kurama is so small. And that distinction does matter because Damon doesn't hype people up for fun. If he says you are dangerous, then you are dangerous. Now imagine this. Himawari pushed into a corner, surrounded, forced to fight seriously for the first time at the scale. That's when that latent power stops being latent. That's when it shows up based on how her character's been written. And if Damon gets to see that firsthand, if he gets to see Himawari actually fully unleash what he knows he's capable of, that changes everything because now she's not just Naruto's daughter. She becomes a player on the board that Damon becomes very excited to take interest in. And if Damon is acknowledging you, that's a cosign from one of the strongest characters in the series, a character that Boruto outright says has no equal in power because his power so far is unrivaled. This is Himawari's defining moment at the end of the day, and that cannot be understated. This is a huge moment for her. Every Naruto character has a moment. Naruto had his moment when he pulled up to save Tsunade from pain. Sasuke had his moment when he went up to the 5 Kage summit and he cut down the banners and he stared down all the Kage. Boruto had his moment when he used the chakra from the super giant Rasengan that Naruto gave him, which imparted the memories of Naruto's struggles to gain the power that Naruto had, and Boruto used that to take down Momoshiki, and that further inspired Boruto to train harder as a result and better appreciate who his father is and what it took for him to become the Hokage. This, right now, this is Himawari's moment. Not because she's guaranteed to lose, not because she's guaranteed to win. She might very well just get her butt handed to her. I'm expecting it, but this is her moment because she's going to be forced to grow a lot faster under pressure. Growth in this series always comes through pain. It always comes through struggle. It always comes through unexpected circumstances. Right now, Himawari is outnumbered. She is surrounded and there is no safety net. There is no backup plan. Right now, it's just her and what she's capable of. And if she survives this, she's not going to come out the same. She's going to come out stronger. She's going to come out sharper. She's going to come out more dangerous because that's what you expect from Naruto's daughter. However, this could all still go wrong. Like, let's not pretend that this is the moment where all the inspirational anime music starts playing and characters power up, because there's a very real chance that things go sideways. 1,000 clone means that someone could slip through. Someone could get overwhelmed. Someone could make a mistake. And in a battlefield like this, one mistake is all it takes. Ada gets consumed. In Kashin Koji, you already saw where things went wrong in another timeline. That's not a theory, that's a warning. And even with everything happening right now, Boruto's potential, Himawari's growth, Damon's presence, that outcome it still hasn't been fully avoided. But I do think that we are setting up for a storm before the narrative breakthrough. Himawari's not just in danger, she's at the center of everything. This moment right now is going to decide how strong she becomes, how far Boruto's willing to go, how unstable Kawaki's about to get, and whether or not Kashi and Koji's plan actually works. And finally, it's going to start the moment where Himawari truly begins to start growing through battle. 1,000 clones doesn't just raise the stakes. It forces every character into a corner. It forces every character to dig deep down inside of themselves. Moments like this are where we find out what characters are truly made of. And I'm not just talking about power. How these characters react, from the words that they say to the expressions to their very actions, is going to tell us a lot. And typically what we've seen with Naruto characters is when they get pushed into a corner, that's where legends like Naruto and Sasuke are born. Or that's where everything falls apart. And right now, it could go either way. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking on the left to check out the newest Naruto Explained video, or clicking on the right to check out videos from my other 2 anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto anime and manga.